over 2 minutes of opening credits over images of not that interesting Manhattan rooftops. If you're going to have patients lie on a couch during these sessions, could you not get one more comfortable looking than this? At least give him an actual pillow to lay his head on. This well-lit club apparently needs to overcandle to a dizzying extreme. There are like 4 candles for every person at this bar.
Rubberman. He's the last of the Fantastic Four that we've been searching for all evening.
I didn't even know Quentin Tarantino was doing touch-ups on scripts as early as 1988. Staying up past your bedtime. Now wait just a goddamn minute. They were walking up some stone steps when we first saw them, and now we see them walking up red carpeted steps. Either they changed buildings between cuts, or this apartment complex has mismatched decor. Getting undressed in front of open windows.
Yeah, excellently.
Playing chess. Where does this f***er think he is? The Batcage? As Nicolas Cage swings and misses at the bat, I'm guessing he should probably get some practice in a batting cage. Look, that pun is almost the same as the last one, but it's not the same. I know I'm going to drive you batty with how in the hell I keep coming up with these puns, but for now, I will remain cagey about it. Why the f*** is this kid still here? Did he expect a naked woman to run out into the hallway? Is this apartment complex a living, breathing Red Shoe Diaries? Trying to look your best for a vampire bat. This cab drives off without anyone telling the driver where to go.
Frank Heatherton wants a copy of the first contract he had for the sale of his short story.
At first I thought Nicolas Cage was doing that accent to impress Casey Lemons to sleep with him just a minute ago. But no, apparently that's the accent he decided to go with in this movie for some reason. This f***ing vendor. You couldn't wait 2 seconds to let them get a kiss? What's so damn urgent? There aren't any other customers? Well, that bat appears to be gone, but I will be goddamned if I'm going to close that transom the bat flew through. What could this sock mean?
I brought this girl up to my place the other night. Really hot, you know.
Telling your therapist how hot your one-night stand was.
And suddenly this bat comes swooping down out of nowhere.
And by nowhere, I mean an open window that nearly any flying creature could access.
Alva, I told you that I already checked those files.
You shouldn't be this mean and insensitive toward Alva, Peter. She might just up and quit and start running, man. My God, this movie is about 71% B-roll of New York City.
Like wood carpenter and raise high the roof beam.
Did you get that joke?
I'm beginning to think Nicolas Cage consulted that pickup artist Mystery for this film. He was only a teenager when this movie came out, but I'm almost certain he was asked for pointers on how to talk to strange women. I've never seen an actor so obviously wearing pasties in a sex scene like this before. It's so obvious, it's almost as if the character wore them for some reason. I mean, yeah, this kind of sucks, literally, but there are worse ways to go than being bitten to death by Jennifer Beals.
If you don't like it, I'll send out. I do it all the time.
Serving coffee to your pillows. Ditching Casey Lemons in the middle of a museum date or any date. That's Casey f***ing Lemons.
Don't you ever call me again.
Also, if the pull of the vampire is so strong, why did he even bother asking Jackie out on another date?
I guess I was pretty horny, pretty keyed up from being with the girl right before.
Now that Peter is changing his story and lying to the psychologist, I'm really wondering why he bothers with anything that isn't his vampire obsession.
Am I getting through to you, Alva?
Swimming with vampires. Also, if he wasn't being such a dick to Alva, I'd take a sin off for this. We all pretend to be making fun of these type of Cage performances, but we all secretly love them. Also, I think the conversation Peter should be having with his therapist is why his British accent disappears so frequently. Although getting erections while watching bats is probably important as well. And yes, I read it was intentionally supposed to be a fake accent because the character of Peter thought it would impress people, but that still doesn't make it any less of a bad decision.
And in the middle of it, he asked me.
He asked you what?
Listen, random diner friend, I'm sure if you'd wait more than half a millisecond, she'd finish the rest of that sentence without you interrupting. Choosing to keep the camera on this random guy for 7 seconds. I would give all the sins back if this movie pulled a Slacker-esque maneuver and started following the mime couple that likes to dance in front of New York City apartment buildings. I want to know their story. This framed poster outside Peter's apartment bugs me more and more every time I see it, but I can't find anything about it online. So am I issuing a sin for the internet failing me? Yes, I am. Standing up Casey Lemons. That's Casey f***ing Lemons. There's those damn pasties again. Did they think it would be unrealistic for her to be wearing a bra, but decided to have absolutely no plan to conceal that she was wearing pasties?
Alva!
If you told me that Nicolas Cage was rehearsing for an Alva and the Chipmunks movie in this scene, I would believe you. This walk.
I have a gun. If you hurt me, I'm gonna use it.
What the f*** is
going on?
Well, this lady seems super concerned about what might happen in this restroom, but she does nothing, which makes her the Susan Collins of this discount HarperCollins. Assholes in boardrooms laughing about how fragile and stupid women are in an 80s movie cliche.
She asked me for a raise for getting chased into the ladies' room.
I totally believe that this toxic workplace would undervalue an employee like Alva, but I do not for 1 minute believe she came in and demanded a raise after the bathroom incident. I guess you could figure out this is Jackie's note, but she didn't put her name anywhere. It could just as easily be one of his neighbors. Or that kid! In this scene, we see Alva on the subway while Peter does a Charles Foster Kane on his apartment. I don't really understand why these scenes are being intercut, since Peter is flipping out over Jackie's bar napkin and it has nothing to do with Alva. In fact, why are we even watching Alva ride a train anyway? Why is that important? Also, this cutting back and forth between Alva on the subway and Peter losing his mind reminds me of The Devil's Advocate so much. I now feel like I should add a retroactive sin for that film for potentially copying any of this film.
Well, it's just there's this contract we're trying to locate.
This contract has MacGuffined itself to death already, and we've still got an hour to go in the film. Just gonna go ahead and get 50 cents for all the rest of the time we're gonna have to hear about the Der Spiegel contract not being found.
You just put it in the right file, according to alphabetical order. You know, A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
I'm beginning to think this angry alphabetical reading doesn't have anything to do with vampires.
Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z! Huh?
The way I passed kindergarten somehow makes it into this movie.
I never misspelled anything! Not once, not one time!
This batshit performance is amazing. Subtext for this movie feels like it's alluding to the pressure we put on ourselves and others at the workplace over stuff that really isn't all that important. The client told him it wasn't important, but Peter is making it seem like it is, and he's being a dick about it. We're supposed to believe this is because of vampires, but this thread of the movie started before he was bit, which I think is the point. They took a theme and ran with it, and I feel like it should be respected, even if it just feels like an early prototype of the Nicolas Cage's Unhinged movie.
I cannot possibly tell you that.
You call yourself a psychiatrist.
Confusing psychiatrists with psychics.
I couldn't think of a more horrible job if I wanted to. And you have to do it. You have to, or I'll fire you.
It's kind of too bad that this is Peter's movie and not Alva's, because what are we rooting for here? That he gets cured? Because I'm not sure there's a cure for being an asshole. Bag of groceries is required to have an oversized baguette sticking out of it, cliche.
You forgot your food.
It's a tremendous testament to New York that this guy worries about Peter leaving his food behind and not wandering into traffic and nearly getting run over. Oh wow, what are the odds Nosferatu will be playing at this very moment on regular broadcast television? Also, why are characters in vampire movies always watching other vampire movies? Usually it's better vampire movies, so then I just want to go watch those vampire movies instead of sitting through the current shitty vampire movie I'm actually watching. Scatting in the shower.
Wanna join me? Well, absolutely, love. Watch yourself.
This scene implies that Rachel may not be real, but in a scene later on at a club, we find out she is 100% real. So why is this scene? Nicolas Cage is eating an actual cockroach in this scene.
Thank God it's Friday. That's all I've got to say. All I'm gonna do this weekend is stay home and sleep.
This character, Peeping Peters.
You're a very bright girl. That's how I know that today, by God, is the day you're gonna find that damned Heatherton contract.
Alva acts surprised that Peter brings the contract up. I'm never going to side with Peter on any of this bullshit, but I still don't know why Alva is surprised by this. He's pulled this on her every time.
The goddamn contract is somewhere in those goddamn f***ing files!
You came for Vampire's Kiss, and you got from the mixed-up files of Mrs. Basil Eve Frankweiler as interpreted by Nicolas Cage.
Don't think it's so hard, sis. You got the time to lean, you got the time to clean.
What a brother. Does Alva have anyone in her life that is kind to her? Her f***ing mother was shouting at her in the only scene we saw with her. Also, what does this expression even have to do with Alva's predicament? She hasn't been leaning on anything. She's been working her ass off and getting for it from everyone.
Remember this. I want you to give me bullets for it.
And instead of just referencing the gun, I will pull it out in the middle of this goddamn auto shop because I know you need visual aids.
44.50 only.
Clean me right out.
Peter throws a wad of money, and we only see $1 bills in it, and the cab driver doesn't even bother counting it as Peter leaves the car. I'm sure he gets stiffed all the time, but kind of crazy it seems he might be okay with it.
I've become a vampire.
It would be hard to say this movie's been subtle about Peter's toxic masculinity, but this f***ing line right here is so in your face that it makes Cage's performance look like Anthony Hopkins in Remains of the Day.
So either shut up and leave the goddamn acting lessons for home or go back to the ladies' room.
Giving orders while making odors. I'm not trying to belittle Alva's abilities to get a task done, and I'm definitely not implying anything positive about Peter's actions toward her, but god damn it, shouldn't she at least be through all the files now and be able to say that the contract is or isn't there? She's looking for a very specific thing. Each page would require only a glance before you could tell whether or not it was the item you were looking for. Flashdance is so horned for blood she couldn't wait till Peter got home to do the blood-sucking and risk less of a chance of being caught in the act? And blah blah blah. You might not really be there, but this movie doesn't really ever settle that debate. Alva finally finds the precious contract Peter's been a dick about for the whole movie, and then smears her face in it, probably getting makeup, tears, and eye goop all over it.
I never found the right woman.
This work and this love.
Hallucinating your cab driver. There are probably not enough sins for what Peter does to Alva here. If you take the movie literally, it's because he's under a vampire spell. If you don't take the movie literally, it's because he's a narcissistic psychopath. Whatever. We'll add, 10 million sins? Probably still not enough.
I'm a vampire! I'm a vampire!
New York City. Also, I like how they just wrote an average Friday night for Nicolas Cage into the script. Damn, guys, I've heard of sleeping on the couch, but I've never heard of the couch sleeping on you. Jesus, when the occult bookstore sold him the vampire teeth, did the cashier put it in a sealed paper bag? Or is Peter so far gone now that he thinks he needs to rip this bag open? This scene just makes me realize we never got a version of Phone Booth starring Nicolas Cage, and while I love what Farrell did with that role, I just want to see Nicolas Cage in everything. So, in case you were wondering if Dr. Glazer is sleeping with hot guys, here's this scene that proves it and enhances the movie for you. Stealing. If you wanted to know what Peter did with the pigeon, here's a 20-second shot of feathers on the ground, complemented by belching, just in case you needed an overlong artistic explanation. Also, movie wants us to believe that he could eat a pigeon with fake plastic vampire teeth in his mouth, and I'm adding another sin for actually having to say that sentence out loud. I know this couch is like Peter's coffin, but when we first saw him using it this way, his head was completely exposed. If he's the vampire cosplayer he thinks he is, he should know that's fucking amateur hour. New York! New York! New York! New Sightman? Somewhere in New York, a helicopter pilot lifts off, unaware that someone in the city thinks he's a vampire. We will now observe this helicopter in its full glory because we wish we were that pilot. Peter makes it look all too easy to punch a bouncer and enter a hot New York nightclub. I appreciate the movie giving us an actual visual that encompasses everything that went into the making of this movie. Nose candy, eye candy, and Stella Artois. Pretty sure that was New York City's tourist tagline in the late 80s. What is this room? Why would a nightclub waste any space like this? Why is there only one other person in the room? Why is this fucking movie? I guess if you do enough cocaine, you might be into this. Peter is going to kill this woman using the plastic vampire teeth he bought for $3.50. I have no doubt these things would be painful, but break the skin? When did he take the plastic teeth out of his mouth? In the previous shot, when he's charming her and about to bite her neck, he still has the teeth in.
I know I could do it now.
I swear this movie was the inspiration for Bret Easton Ellis's American Psycho. This and that movie would be one hell of a double feature. And oh look, I just found out Christian Bale based his character on this. Anyway, I don't think there's a sin here, but maybe I can slip a sin in for Ellis writing that Lindsay Lohan movie, The Canyons.
You don't remember me?
Peter, right?
Wait, you mean Peter was hallucinating Rachel a minute ago, but she's actually here? And he hallucinated her wearing the exact dress she's wearing now? What the f*** is going on? Teasing a vampire with a finger cross? That's racist. No.
Hey, what's doing?
What's doing? I have no problem buying there are this many Lowe's in New York City, but I am having a hard time believing only one of them has a first name as common as Peter. First off, disco death. Second off, I know the New York Post is terrible, but showing a picture of the victim with the bloody neck on the front page? Third off, what format is this article in? The paragraphs are all center justified. Fourth off, it's hilarious that the newspaper vendor has a brick holding down the Daily News so that the wind doesn't blow them away. But for the New York Post, the vendor's like, f*** it. Fifth off, Peter just killed the girl earlier that morning. How is this already a front page story?
So I forgot. Where did we leave off?
Peter, you wanted very much to make an earlier appointment, so what's up?
Peter hallucinates his therapy appointment, and in that fantasy, he's well-groomed and put together. But his hallucination also tells him that holding the fence post in Dr. Glazer's office is a good look. Movie is now leading us down a rabbit hole of whether or not his therapy sessions have been real or imagined. Based on the scene earlier where Peter calls Dr. Glazer, I can't imagine how she's not real. But to be fair, I'm also not positive this movie is even real, and I might be on the streets of New York staring at the corner of a building, and that might actually be a preferable scenario.
The patient who comes in after you.
It would be amazing if Peter's hallucination extended so far as to strip Dr. Glazer of her psychiatry practice for violating the confidentiality agreement. Oh man, they dragged poor Jessica Lundy into this mess.
Well, the fact is I did murder someone last night.
I'm not sure how much of this movie is a success, but its discussion of how toxic men justify the bad shit that they do comes off as painfully true here in the end, as Peter fantasizes about a world where he not only rapes someone and murders someone and gets away with it, but is united with a perfect woman, who is basically a female version of himself. As I watch Alva's brother walk up to Peter's apartment to beat him with a tire iron, I'm wondering why the movie made such a big deal about this stupid kid earlier. The kid was worthless. Morning wood.
Get up.
You brought a tire iron here to beat him with it, and now you just want to do hand-to-hand combat? Alva's brother kills Peter with a stake. Jennifer Beals shows up for some reason, and the movie can't resist to put even more New York skyline in it after we've already taken a tour of the whole goddamn city.
Dream of me, my angel.
I mean, I've been continuously dreaming about Jessica Biel since 1983, so while I appreciate the permission given, she's almost 40 years behind.
Snap out of it!
I'd like to take his face off.
You wanted her very badly.
Badly is an adverb, so to say you feel badly would be saying that the mechanism which allows you to feel is broken.
Tommy, how's the peeping?
Inconceivable?
Hi, how you doing?
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Alva! Alva!
Alban!
Captain, my captain.
We are laughing.
Lights out! Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
I guess you could say I'm a little nutty.
Thank God it's Friday.
Uh-oh. Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
You're with me now.
You complete me. I'll be taking these Huggies and whatever cash you got.